Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Siobhan Barker. I'm the Director of Community Care, Housing and Culture, and I have here with me my colleague, Jamira Lovemore White. And we are excited to be sharing space with you today for our presentations of barriers and belonging. We have a few slides to show just to start us off, and then we're going to be going into breakout rooms to engage with some of the questions that will hopefully inspire and challenge and bring us back into group together a little bit later. So we are sharing is everyone able to see the slides that are being shared by Jamira? If there's any technical problems, please put it in the chat, and Chad, who is our tech expert, will assist you where possible. Thank you for the thumbs up. That's appreciated. All right, so moving us along. You can start us off, Jamira.
Hi, so we'd like to acknowledge and recognize that Hogan's Alley Society is comprised of immigrants, some recent, some generations ago. We recognize that we benefit from the ongoing colonization of this land. And so this acknowledgement is a process that requires more than a singular statement. We are constantly seeking out means to research and educate ourselves as to how to best honor the Indigenous communities and culture, continue to shape this land. We are grateful to be living and working in solidarity on the unceded and occupied ancestral territories of the Katzie, the Kwantlen, the Whitlam, the Matski, the Kikite, the Stolo, as well as the Sawasan, the Tsleil-Waututh, the Semiahmoo, the Squamish, the Sumas, and the Musqueam nations of the Lower Mainland.
Jamira, we can see both you and the PowerPoint. Can you just focus on the content? The content will be large enough for us to read.
So, Joseph, just to be clear, you're asking for the screen share to be larger. So,
The screen share focus on the content because right
yeah.
now the screen shares have content and have image of Jamira.
I
Oh,
gotcha.
okay.
I'm working on that right now. Just stand by. I'll get that going here shortly.
Thank you, Joseph.
Hey,
Oh, I
Steve.
think I know why
Wait a
it's doing
second.
that. I thought that was going to be what it gave me and not what you guys were seeing. Okay, that should have fixed it now. Is that better?
Great.
That's good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's looking better. Thank you.
Thanks
Okay,
there.
wonderful.
All right. Whoops. No,
Let
let's
me
go back.
just go back here. I skipped us ahead a little bit.
Okay.
And we have full screen.
So
No.
we have a very short time today, so you may notice I'm going to shorten some of the text on some of our slides, but a practice that we do at Hogan's Alley Society is that in addition to acknowledging the ancestral lands that we operate on, is also to acknowledge our African ancestors in ceremony and through thankful libations, which is a life affirming a community practice to support the well being of the community. It's a point of reflection where we think back to the ancestors that have contributed to our being in relationship here today. As our ancestors speak to your ancestors, the aim and spirit is to recognize and reflect and to ask for the guidance and wisdom as we move forward towards collective liberation. Next slide.
So I just wanted to check, is it showing you the top of my screen or is it full screen right now?
Top of the screen is visible.
Okay, so let me just stop this share and then try this again. Something happened when I switched off the.
So we're going to just continue with a little bit history of Hogan's Alley. Hogan's Alley, the area in Vancouver, was an area that was settled by Black Californians in the 1900s. There was a 10-block radius, and the area is currently called Strathcona. And 50 years ago, the Georgia viaducts were displaced the vibrant Black community. And there's histories of displacement of Black and racialized communities in many different metropolitan Canadian and North American cities. In 2022, the City of Vancouver signed a memorandum of understanding with Hogan's Alley Society to redevelop the block and the viaducts to come down. This is a significant move in relation to restorative practice, and these are some historical photos of the area. We'll move us forward.
We're not going to spend too much time here, but if you see that QR code in the corner, grab your phone and try to grab a snap of it. That is going to take you to our webpage where we have our Housing Solutions Lab research data, which was a comprehensive study we did back in 2022, published in 2023. And I just want to quickly touch on, they did a really great job at compiling data for this, but there is a lack of disaggregated race-based data that contributes to housing barriers, especially when it comes to housing for newcomers and Black community members. So I'll give you guys a moment, and then hopefully you've gotten a chance to grab that. And if nobody's gotten a chance to grab it, then you can always ask at the end, and we can put a link at the end as well.
Thanks, Jamira. So this is a little bit of a snapshot of some of the work that we're engaged in with Hogan's Alley Society, the Community Land Trust, Nora Hendricks Place, a 52-unit modular housing development, which prioritizes Black and Indigenous residents. We have the Housing Support Program, which is intervention and advocacy for Black residents throughout Metro Vancouver. That's 21 municipalities that are facing housing insecurity or eviction. We have cultural programs and land-based stewardship, and this is a point of engagement for the residents of Nora Hendricks Place, the participants in the housing support program, and the larger community and members of that reside in Metro Vancouver. And then we also have our student homestay program, which was a partnership with the University of British Columbia to support Black international students with housing as they arrived into the country to be able to transition more effectively through having the relationship with the host family, as well as a few weeks of guaranteed housing to be able to then situate themselves and choose future housing. So just before we move into, oops, if you could go back. And you could go back again. Thank you. So just before we move into the meat of the matter, a little bit, this session was intended to explore inclusive and client-centered, culturally grounded approaches that strengthen newcomer belonging and well-being. And so in devising this, we look to each other as fellow experts in the work that we all do in this area to be able to participate in a facilitated breakout discussion, to identify barriers, to share effective practices, and to co-create actionable strategies that will advance racial justice, trauma-informed service delivery, and most importantly, cross-sector collaboration. That's the goal of our time here today. We originally envisioned this as a roundtable where we were physically all together, and we pivoted to this being a virtual session. So there may be a few sort of stop-start moments as we move that into breakout rooms, which they're doing very kindly for us in this session. We understand it was not intended as the practice inside of virtual offerings, but it is foundational to this particular body of work. So we're very thankful to the organizers and to Chad for facilitating us in that. When you go into the breakout sessions, you'll have a chance to introduce yourself and introduce how you and your work connect to our topic of barriers to belonging. And then there'll be a series of questions, questions that are listed with a subheading, and then 2 or 3 questions underneath that. And in your independent breakout groups, you'll have a chance to choose 2, 3, possibly more than that, of questions to engage in the group discussion. You'll have a note taker, Jamira or myself, and at that point, we'll come back together and do a sort of a harvesting of the information that got shared in the room, and so we can experience that. And hopefully inside of that, there will be some actionable pieces. So if we could move to the next slide. All right, so we're going to have 2 breakout rooms, and breakout room 1 is going to have me and these particular questions, and breakout group 2 will have slide 2 and the questions from that slide. We've been told that we will be able to share the slide in the breakout rooms. If somehow that doesn't come together, we will cut and paste and put it into the chat. So because it's quite a lot of content, you're welcome to take a picture of these slides if that facilitates your access needs. And in relation to access needs, there are captions available inside of this virtual session. And if there's anything that we can do to better address accessibility, please feel free to send a message through the chat to Chad or to us, and we're happy to engage further in that way. So Chad is going to magically whisk us into our various breakout rooms, and then we'll engage in conversation with these particular thematic questions, and then we'll come back together for a little bit more time in community. Oh dear, deep apologies, Daisy. We were whisked out of our breakout room mid-sentence. I hope that the other room had a very generative conversation as well. We really kind of got into it at the end. Sorry, Joseph and Daisy, but I'm so glad that both of you spoke. And thank you to Greg and to Bethlehem as well. So welcome back, everyone. We are back into our group session. I feel like I'm a little discombobulated with the time zone. Chad, can you tell me where are we at for time, remaining time?
We just have a few minutes left.
Oh, so how many?
No minutes.
So just 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh, really? Oh, this is just horrid. Okay. So sorry, everyone. We've just been too involved in conversation. Jamira, do you want to name quickly a few things from your group? We were very high on conversation around accreditation, around financial literacy and planning, and around the impacts of mental health in newcomer communities. For you?
So we definitely had a lot of really great conversation around cultural humility. We had some examples of not being culturally responsive or upper levels of organizations not really having training and practice so that folks are not using offensive language. We also did discuss examples where organizations got ahead of things and were able to actually educate folks on the history, specifically with respect to Indigenous folks and Indian hospitals, or they call them Indian hospitals, hospitals for Indigenous folks. So definitely got to learn a little bit around culturally responsive practice within that. And then we also did expand to conversations around just how to build trust with newcomer folks. I'm not sure if anybody else from the group wants to share something specific.
Well, I don't want us to get turned off in the way that the breakout rooms got closed. So I just want to give a thank you to everyone. I think they're rather strict with us in the virtual space. This session has been recorded, and we will generate a more comprehensive feedback, Jamira and I, from what was shared in the groups. So it is not quite finished at this point, and that document will share back with the organizers so that you can see a collective sort of summary to our time together and some of the outcomes or progress points that might be useful to you in your work with your organization. If anyone would like to jump in ever so quickly, and how much time do we have, Chad?
We are running. We're basically out of time,
Oh, okay.
but feel free to wrap it up. I mean, it's not going to be turned off, so you can finish up.
Okay. So, if there's anyone that has a burning point that they want to say before we finish, please do put a hand up. All right. Well, with that in mind, as I said, we will do a summary and we will share that back with the organizers. Enjoy the rest of the conference, virtual and or in person, and we look forward to connecting with you further. Do reach out to us at Hogan's Alley Society if you'd like to continue the conversation. All the best to everyone.